The Chakralytics Show.
Namaste. Self-investigation and self-honesty. In this video, I would like to explore self-investigation and self-honesty and the importance of self-honesty or what I perceive to be a very important aspect, self-honesty in self-investigation. So in the last videos, in the last couple of videos, I've talked about symptoms as teachers. What I've experienced is that these may point to deeper layers of consciousness, and now we can ask our symptoms, and then we can dive into the deeper layers of consciousness. What comes up in our consciousness, the contractions we hold, the misaligned belief systems, the fears that we hold, the old traumas, the old samskaras. We can do this by questioning these symptoms, asking these symptoms, and sit with these, and acknowledge what comes up. And a way to do this is, for example, by writing things down. Especially in the beginning, it can feel very like a brain dump, very resolving, like writing everything down and getting to know oneself, exploring one's inner landscape. And the thing is, we might find things that we doesn't necessarily want there to be. So this is what often is called as shadow work, that we come across things that are in the shadow and we rather would like to push it away. But if we push it away and we put our blindfolds on and we don't want to see that aspect of ourselves, it stays in the dark and it stays in the shadow, and it can just work its thing on us. So once we shed our light, we shine our light on it, and we accept that it is there, we may work through it and we may dissolve it. But as long as we deny it or we push it away, it will stay there, and it will come again and again. It will show up in our experience. So self-honesty, I would feel, is a very important aspect of doing inner work and doing self-exploration, self-alignment. It's recognizing what is there and acknowledging what is there. So that's why in a first step, for example, with writing things down, this can be a beautiful thing, and it can also be very confronting. And it's the same with meditation. When we start meditating, I think a beautiful thing to explain this is something I learned in a training long ago, and it's about. I will translate it from Dutch to English. So it's about, first, we may be in our transformational process. At first, in the stage when we start this transformational process, we may be unconsciously incapable. Unconsciously incapable. And what this means, or what we can say that this refers to, is to that state that we're just sleeping while awake. So we're just doing our lives and we're totally controlled by our past experiences, our traumas, our the contractions that we hold within, the thoughts that we have, and we're just reacting on those, and there's no choice. We're just walking our lives, doing our lives, being led by those thoughts and those emotions, and we could say it's unconscious, incapable at that stage. Sleepwalking, sleeping while awake. And once we awake, or once we start doing inner work practices, for example, meditation, a lot of people, what I've seen is that a lot of people find it hard to stick with meditation at first, or find it very confronting, because when we're unconsciously incapable, we are not aware of everything that we hold within. We are not aware of all the thoughts that we're having. We're not aware of all those contractions that we are carrying. We're just being led by them, you know. And when we start doing meditation, we become consciously incapable. So that's a first step in a transformation process, according to these teachings. And so we're becoming aware of all these contractions, or maybe not all of them, but we become aware of the contractions that we are holding within, the misaligned belief systems, the fears that we hold, the emotions that we hold, the samskaras that we hold. And this can feel very confronting in the beginning. And that's a possibility that many people stop meditating because they feel too confronted with all the rumor that's going on within the mind. So, but even when we stop meditating, it doesn't mean that all these contractions are gone then. They were there already. You are now just becoming aware that they are there. But becoming aware and accepting that that is there is a first step, I would say, that we can set towards liberating ourselves from these contractions and freeing ourselves from these contractions. So meditation and sitting in that witness state, seeing it as a witness, starting to see our mind chatter, our thoughts, our emotions as just like clouds passing by, or contractions within our awareness. We may distance ourselves a little bit from those thoughts, and there's coming a bit of space between our witness state, essence self, our consciousness, and these contractions, these thoughts that we have. And we are getting a choice of reacting on them, being pulled by them, or sitting back and letting it be there and feel the emotion that's going with it, but without reacting. And I think this is a beautiful first step, and I think it's part of the process to have that period of consciously incapability, and from going from consciously incapable, we move to consciously capable. So there's starting to come a practice and a meditation and a way of that we can dissolve contractions, that we can work through them, that we can meet them with unconditional love and acceptance, that we can sit in that spaciousness, in that witness state, or we can rest in our spaciousness, in our emptiness, empty fullness, and so, but that's then a practice. So I believe that for the most people, I think it may be very beneficial to have a steady practice, to devote yourself to this and to dissolving contractions, working through these contractions, and working on self-alignment. In this training, there was the final was unconsciously capable, but I would say now we're resting in awareness and we're full awake. We're always awake. But what I think we could translate this to is that it's maybe a final stage. What is called in Kashmir Shaivism Anupāya. It's the no means. In Tibetan, in Dzogchen, there's a beautiful work, the treasury of, I can't come up with the name right now, but it also there's nothing to be explained. There's nothing to be done anymore. It's the no means. So Anupāya in Kashmir Shaivism, or very little means. But in Anupāya, it means that someone who has awakened, has experienced Shaktipat and experienced intense descent of grace, so intense that they only need to hear some words of the teacher, one teaching, and they become fully awake, fully liberated. And then there is nothing to be done anymore. You don't have to meditate. You don't have to. It's you just. The only thing is what you do is you rest in that awareness, in that emptiness, that empty fullness, and that full emptiness, we could say. And so I think that is a final stage, and once we work through these, it evolves in that it gets easier and easier to rest in that state of expanded consciousness, of expanded awareness. But I think to bring it all back home, it starts at first with, I believe, it depends on how intense your Shaktipat was, but I believe very important aspects are self-investigation, self-inquiry. What is going on there? What is being said beneath the surface? And self-honesty. So accepting what is being said. In my experience, I've seen a lot of things that have come up into my experience, and that I had to accept of myself, that weren't necessarily the things that I wanted to see, but those were also part of the experience of what I held within. So and I'm still working through things, and things come up, and that's the beauty of the process as well. And so thank you. This is what I wanted to share now. Thank you for watching. If you appreciate the content that we're creating, I warmly invite you to like and to subscribe. And if you have any questions, I warmly invite you to ask them in the comments below or share reflections. If you want to work on this self-inquiry, on this self-investigation, self-exploration, and self-alignment, we have created Chakralytics for this purpose. It's an online platform for self-analysis based on the 7 chakra system. And there's a tool with 350 questions, 50 questions per chakra. And these focus on the 21 major themes of our lived experience. So self-reflection in this way, it may be a very beautiful and beneficial step toward experiencing a deeper sense of inner freedom, a deeper sense of self-understanding and self-alignment. So thank you for watching. Namaste.